Today's Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. What would be the 95th birthday of Malcolm X? Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, released on bail thanks to a black judge. We'll give you the details on that and the latest in that murder case. Donald Trump admits he's taking hydroxychloroquine. The drug experts say could kill him. We'll talk to our own expert about that and why you should no way in hell listen to anything that he says. We'll also talk about empty emergency rooms. People who need to go to the emergency room aren't going because they're afraid of catching coronavirus. How safe is that? PPP, big issue. Black businesses can still qualify to get some of the federal bailout money. We'll talk about that with Operation Hope founder John Hope Bryant. The NFL announces changes to enhance diversity in the league. We'll tell you what the plan is and what they didn't do. Yeah, no guts there. A review board in Miami finds that the black doctor who was handcuffed outside of his home, the officer was justified, but they did say there was some issues with that officer. And yes, today's crazy-ass white person, also from Florida. Yeah, you can count on craziness. It's always in Florida. Plus, legendary Clark sisters are here for a chat and how to stay healthy and fit during this lockdown. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time. And it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's Uncle Roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin.
Well, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul finally speaks out about the controversial shooting of former Louisville EMT Breonna Taylor, who was shot and killed by police during a no-knock search warrant that experts have heavily criticized. That took place, of course, in the month of March. Not only that, of course, you also have the changes being made there in Louisville, and now the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor, the man who was charged with attempted murder, even though he was licensed to carry a weapon, and he fired at the cops who bust into the house, into the apartment with no knock. He's now out of jail because a black judge let him out. Joining us right now is Philip Bailey, the politics reporter for the Louisville Courier, the Courier Journal in Louisville, Kentucky. First and foremost, let's deal with Kenneth Walker being out. Black judge in this particular case, that's surprising because it's rare that somebody's let out of jail for firing at police officers.
Right, Roland. I mean, Judge Olu Stevens, who had previously had fights with the Commonwealth's attorney, Tom Wine, in the city of Louisville over blacks being selected on juries, he was the one who really got the ball rolling on this. And you don't really see Judge Stevens get a lot of credit, but he's the one who allowed Kenneth Walker to be on home incarceration. Back in March, that infuriated the FOP. They, made a big noise about that. A lot of TV stations picked it up at the time and really focused more on Kenneth Walker being released. And there was very little coverage or talk or conversation about why Mr. Walker was even incarcerated in the first place. Breonna Taylor at that time was really an afterthought. I remember getting into a conversation with a local council member here in Louisville and bringing that very issue up, which is that the story wasn't about the officer being shot and Kenneth Walker being released on home incarceration. It was this accusation that the police had barged in without announcing themselves and had shot this woman to ribbons, even though there were no drugs found in her apartment as a part of that drug case. So certainly Judge Olu Stevens has been maybe a forgotten character in this, but he has a history of clashing and standing up to both prosecutors and police in these past cases.
What has been the reaction from the Louisville Police Union or the police department?
Thus far, the police union, I think, has been relatively quiet since this story has become a national story. They were certainly much more vocal and talkative when the issue was Kenneth Walker being released on home incarceration. Thus far, Chief Conrad hasn't said that much. He is supposed to testify before our city council tomorrow at the Public Safety Committee hearing about, the shooting and use of no-knock warrants. Mayor Greg Fisher has made certain changes, announced certain policy changes, saying that, the police chief will have to sign off directly on no-knock warrants. But Roland, today we had a story out about Chief Conrad and the series of scandals he's faced. And the question that many council members who want him fired are asking is, why weren't these policies in place beforehand? Why did Breonna Taylor have to die in order for the mayor to say the police chief must look at and sign off on these orders before seeking a no-knock search warrant with a judge? And there's also, that's a question too. Judge Mary Shaw, who has been the judge who signed that no-knock warrant, questions are now coming to her why she signed it with such a boilerplate search warrant language being put in there by narcotics detectives. So everyone is really on their heels here in Louisville, Roland, as far as this shooting is concerned.
Let's talk about Senator Rand Paul now speaking out on this. There are two U.S. senators there in Kentucky, Senator Rand Paul, Senator Mitch McConnell. What did Senator Rand Paul say, and have we heard anything from Mitch McConnell?
I've been pestering Senator Rand Paul's office over the weekend about what they have to say about the Breonna Taylor case. Senator Paul, as you know, Roland, is certainly someone who's outspoken about libertarian issues, whether it's the Patriot Act, FISA court, et cetera. And my question to them was, well, what about this case here of the police with very little information about Breonna Taylor, other than seeing one drug suspect leave her apartment 2 or 3 months ago? They came out with a statement exclusively to the Courier-Journal where Senator Paul says that no-knock warrants should be forbidden, which was certainly some strong language from him. His office also points out that, look, in the past, Senator Paul has spoken out about militarization of local police. Certainly there are those asking, why don't we see more Fourth Amendment advocates, more Second Amendment advocates, especially here in a state like Kentucky, Roland, speaking out about both Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Senator Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, last week did address a very short statement saying that he hopes this investigation, a thorough investigation, is conducted, sharing his condolences. One of the only public officials who really spoke to the issue of race in this shooting was Congressman John Yarmouth, a Democrat out of Louisville, who is the Budget Committee Chairman.
Well, it's quite interesting to see the folks who have not speaking out. Yesterday, again, I had the mayor on. He talked about the changes they have implemented. How have those been received in the community?
Well, right now, there are some who say it's a bit of window dressing. As I said before, there are members of Metro Council who are asking, why weren't these policies put in place beforehand, right? I mean, no-knock warrants in the mix with stand your ground, castle doctrine laws, according to experts we've talked to, are just a recipe for disaster. You're basically pitting law enforcement against civilians, and one of those two things has to be rectified. There's a question now of why wasn't the SWAT team used or deployed in this situation? They have a higher standard for deploying SWAT than they do these individual detectives. When you look at the warrant, again, Roland, when you look at the warrant in this investigation, Breonna Taylor is never mentioned doing anything in the warrant. The only reason her name comes up is because this suspected drug dealer goes to her apartment and picks up some mail and leaves, and her car is seen outside of his home at one point. Breonna Walker is never accused or alleged in the warrant to touch any drugs, being seen around any drugs, and even the U.S. Postal Service inspector has now said publicly that there was no information or anything that would show that there was suspicious mail going to her home. So the question on many people's minds is, when you talk to veteran narcotics officers like I have, veteran narcotics detectives, someone like Breonna Taylor is a peripheral individual in this investigation. She should be someone who you would at least do a search warrant, maybe in the middle of the day, if at all. You might just approach her at work or approach her at the grocery store and ask her what's going on. She certainly isn't someone who many think should be susceptible to a no-knock warrant. So there certainly is an examination of that. The mayor is still under scrutiny for his bloodless response in many people's minds, when he didn't even want to say, Breonna Taylor's service record. So there certainly is, a lot of people on edge here. But with COVID-19 still going on, you don't hear about or see any large demonstrations or protests thus far.
Last question. Obviously, as this thing moves forward, people still have significant questions. Those officers involved, there were 3 officers, correct?
Yes.
And again, they're on desk duty, but they're still on the force and still being paid.
Yeah.
Well, that certainly explains a lot. We certainly appreciate it, Philip Bailey. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Problem, Roland. Thank you.
All right then, folks. We again staying another story that we have been focused on is the Ahmaud Arbery case. Now, what's interesting about that case is that all of a sudden you're seeing these stories now talking about how Ahmaud Arbery was involved, got arrested for shoplifting in 2017. But what sense did that make? Now, what's interesting is that there's also a video that's out that shows Ahmaud Arbery being stopped by the cops and how they tried to tase him even though his arms were up. Really? That makes no sense there. Joining me right now is my panel, Kelly Bethea, communications strategist, Belak Abdul, Republican strategist, Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for the environmental justice at the EPA. I'm going to start with you, Mustafa. What's interesting is, again, what you're now seeing is you're seeing the dance taking place. You're now seeing the folks who are talking about, the criminal record of Ahmaud Arbery. We've seen this movie 1,000 times where you want to associate 2017 with 2020.
Yeah, they want to smear his name. You know, they want to belittle him so that folks will not be as outraged at the murder that took place. You know, whether he had a shoplifting charge or case or not is irrelevant in relationship to the murder that happened and to what seems to be a cover-up by the police there in their interactions with, reaching out to one of the neighbors to say, or telling them, that you could talk to one of the neighbors who owned the property that he looked at and a number of other people actually looked at as well. So this is all about trying to weaken his character so that they can try and increase and enhance their case.
And of course, again, this video has been, it's been out. People are talking. People are talking about it. The Guardian has the video. Also contains very strong language. We're going to show this. We're going to show this video in a second to get folks' thoughts on it. Kelly, again. Look, we can expect this. Anything and everything dealing with Ahmaud Arbery is going to come out in public because you're going to see an effort to try to tar and feather him. Simple as that.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. For anybody who knows how to argue or debate or anything like that, you know that the worst type of argument you can have when the cases aren't in your favor is to attack somebody's character because, frankly, that's all you have. And in this case, the facts are not in the favor of those who side with the murderers in this situation. Why? Because they actually had no grounds to do what they did. And it's evident that they had no grounds to do what they did because of the smear campaign that you see. You don't have any evidence of wrongdoing on the deceased. You don't have any evidence of direct criminal behavior such that a citizen's arrest needed to be made because it didn't happen. This was a lynching. Lynchings are illegal. And the only way that lynchings were even justified in the first place was what I just said. They would smear somebody's character in order to justify something that, frankly, has no justification whatsoever. So I'm not surprised at the smear campaign. I'm not surprised at the mudslinging, but it is unfortunate that it is still going on and that this is still a tactic of debate, because at the end of the day, wrong is wrong. And we have a young man who is dead because of wrongdoing, plain and simple.
Folks at The Guardian got a hold of this video. Let's go right to it. Go to my iPad, please.
I'm not asking you. Just don't reach the car, man. Get your hand out of your pocket. Hands out of your pocket. Hand out of your pocket. Down. Warning, down. Stay on the ground. Just stay on the ground, okay? You off work today?
Just rapping in the park.
Gotcha. You got an ID on you, man? All right, thanks, man. Be right back with you, okay? Why am I fucking with you? You want to know why I'm fucking with you?
Why?
Keep your hand in your pocket.
I ain't got shit on me. What the fuck you fucking with me for?
I'll tell you why I'm here, man.
Why?
I'll tell you why I'm here. Because this area is known for drug activity.
Drug? How the fuck I'm drug attack when I work at Blue Beacon?
Back up.
Check my shit.
Back up.
The fuck you talking about?
You
Check
want to back
my
up?
motherfucking shit. I on, boy.
Turn around and put your hands on the car.
Why?
Turn around and put your
I
hands
ain't
on the
gotta
car.
do shit. Watch out, bro. Don't
Turn
touch
around and
me,
put your hands
bro.
on the car. I'm
You
checking
ain't
you for
got no
weapons.
reason.
I'm checking you for weapons.
You got no reason to touch me, bro.
I'm not searching you. I'm checking you for weapons. All right, man? You don't have any
got no
warrants?
fucking weapons, bro.
I know, but you're coming up on me. You make me
Coming up
kind of
on you,
nervous.
something about, bro.
Okay?
You bothering me for nothing. You can't go in my car.
You're not allowing me to search your car?
You can't go in my shit.
I'm not asking you. Just don't reach the car, man.
Get your hand out of your pocket.
Hands out of your pocket.
Hand out of your pocket. Down. Warning, down.
Stay on the ground. Just stay on the ground, okay?
Keep your hands out. No, keep your hands out.
I've already checked him
Listen
for
to me.
weapons. I've checked him for weapons.
Okay. I'm trying to ease my mind. I'm rapping. I rap, bro. I rap.
I got you, man. But when you run up on me and you get really jumpy, that's going to make me nervous, too.
Aggravate my day. I got 1 day off a week. 1 day.
Okay.
1 day off a week. I'm trying to chill on my day off, bro. I'm
I
up
got
early
you.
in the morning trying to chill.
He was very aggravated.
Malfunction?
Yeah, that was...
I tried to tase him.
You did try to tase him?
Yeah.
It got to the point where you had to tase
Well,
him?
it was, I didn't realize he'd already patted him down for weapons, and I could see there's like a wallet or something,
Yeah.
and I could
Yeah.
see him going like that, and he had a big heavy coat on, and he just wasn't moving fast enough.
Really? Wow, Malik. So, dude already got in check. You automatically pull your taser out. Luckily, it didn't work. Damn.
And the end of the video actually, for most of us, should explain everything that preceded it, because as the officer said, I was about to tase him, and well, actually, I was trying to tase him, and then I realized that he had already been searched. So he was tasing him because he had.
Hello, remember, he did tase him. It just malfunctioned.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it actually didn't work. So what we heard him admit to is that I didn't realize that he had already been searched. So if the taser had actually worked, then Ahmaud would have been tased at that point for something, as the officer admitted, he should not have done, because he had already been searched. And so with him talking about a wallet or something in his pocket, I mean, yes, people are going to use this to justify what happened with Ahmaud. But the great thing is that we have the video, and that what we're seeing, his involvement with the police, has absolutely nothing to do with those two men who stopped and killed him. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. It wasn't even a police matter until, as it seems, the police decided to cover it up. So I'm wondering, after watching this video, whether or not, because of that previous interaction that they had with Ahmaud, that they tried to just cover this up and just assumed, took word for word what the what the two murderers said. This adds another level to it, but it in no way explains or justifies anything about what happened to Ahmaud, because his interaction with the police is totally different than his interaction with the people who ultimately murdered him.
And what you're dealing with here, of course, this is the same Glenn County Police Department that was involved in the case in 2020. That, of course, was 2017. So we, again, staying on top of this, and we'll more details as we get them. We'll certainly talk with you about that. So, but that's, again, you see what happens with cops. You see how they react. And in this case, we certainly see what took place with Ahmaud Arbery back in 2017. Folks, as of today, there are 1.56 million COVID-19 cases in the U.S. 91,582 people have died as a result. 361,000 people are recovering. Now, the economy continues to suffer, and cities across the country are reopening against the warnings from health experts. Then, of course, Donald Trump, as we talked about yesterday, announces he is taking this particular unproven drug. Here's the craziness of that video.
And a lot of good things have come out about the hydroxy. A lot of good things have come out. And you'd be surprised at how many people are taking it, especially the frontline workers, before you catch it. The frontline workers, many are taking it. I happen to be taking it. Hydroxychloroquine? I'm taking it. Hydroxychloroquine.
When?
Right now, yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I started taking it. Because I think it's good. I've heard a lot of good stories. And if it's not good, I'll tell you right. I'm not going to get hurt by it. It's been around for 40 years for malaria, for lupus, for other things. I take it. Frontline workers take it. A lot of doctors take it. A lot of doctors take it. I take it. Yeah, I hope to not be able to take it soon because, I hope they come up with some answer. But I think people should be allowed to. I think for whatever it's worth, I take it. I would have told you that 3-4 days ago, but we never had a chance because you never asked me the question.
Did the White House doctor recommend that you take that? Is that why you're taking it?
Yeah, White House doctor. I didn't recommend. No, I asked him, what do you think? He said, well, if you'd like it. I said, yeah, I'd like it. I'd like to take it. A lot of people are taking it. A lot of frontline workers are taking hydroxychloroquine. A lot of I don't take it because, hey, people said, oh, maybe he owns the company. No, I don't own the company. You know what? I want the people of this nation to feel good. I don't want them being sick. And there's a very good chance that this has an impact, especially early on. But you look at frontline workers, you look at doctors and nurses, a lot of them are taking it.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. All right. Joining me right now is Dr. Sidney Coupe, internal medicine physician and founder and CEO of the Coupe Quality Clinic in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Doc, I'm going to read this letter here. White House released this letter, memo for Kayleigh McEnany from Sean P. Conley, physician to the president, commander, U.S. Navy. As has been previously reported, 2 weeks ago, one of the president's support staff tested positive for COVID-19. The president is in very good health and has remained symptom-free. He receives regular COVID-19 testing, all negative to date. After numerous discussions he and I had regarding the evidence for and against the use of hydroxychloroquine, we concluded the potential benefit from treatment outweighed the relative risk. In consultation with our interagency partners and subject matter experts around the country, I continue to monitor the myriad studies investigating potential COVID-19 therapies, and I anticipate employing the same shared medical decision-making based on the evidence at hand in the future. Now, first of all, Doc, let's break it down. Nowhere in here does this doctor say he prescribed hydroxychloroquine. Nowhere in here. He dances around the subject by saying we concluded the potential benefit from treatment outweighed the relative risk. 2, nowhere are they saying, why would you take a drug if you don't have coronavirus? When the FDA has already issued a warning stating the only place people should be taking this drug are in hospitals. Are you buying this nonsense?
You know, Roland, by the way, thank you again for having me. And it's always a pleasure to come in and communicate with your audience, yourself, and to provide some education. And, you know, these are real issues, and that's impacting real people in our community. So let's get this cleared up. Number one, hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine is not indicated at this time for any treatment around coronavirus or COVID-19. That's the first thing that needs to be very clear. And I will repeat this. Hydroxychloroquine is not indicated to treat anything around the coronavirus or the COVID-19. Now, we do use hydroxychloroquine for many other diseases, you know, like malaria prophylaxis, right, or to treat malaria, as you all know, very familiar. In addition, there's a lot of rheumatic type of diseases that we treat, we use hydroxychloroquine for. For instance, rheumatoid arthritis. We use it for lupus, you know, conditions that might even involve the skin. So there's some rheumatic conditions that involve the skin where hydroxychloroquine is effective for. So those are the conditions. So as I was listening to the audio, you know, it strikes me, I wonder, does Donald Trump have other conditions that he's taking the hydroxychloroquine for, right? Because, you know, I can tell you now that there's not a physician that would recommend the use of hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID-19.
Especially if you don't have it. Like who takes a drug just for the hell of it?
Right. So I'll say this. So right now, because we have the pressure and the demand of this pandemic where people are dying, clearly, right? So we have a lot of people dying, and there's a race for us and an urgency for us to find treatment and also eventually a vaccination. And so you have that urgency. But also, us in the scientific community, we also know the importance of having evidence-based medicine and evidence-based practice. So, you know, what we're experiencing here in our society is this concept of we are now in a race of getting the right treatment or identifying what works and avoiding to harm people, number one, and number two, to see what's effective. So when you think about drugs like hydroxychloroquine, we're using it in a hospital setting for experimental purposes to see if it's working. Now, all of the observational studies around hydroxychloroquine is not promising, Roland. So although in the beginning of this pandemic, we were using hydroxychloroquine, we were using azithromycin. In fact, I just came back from the hospital. I admitted a patient with, a virus, the COVID-19. And so we are treating it with all types of the experimental medications that were recommended. So hydroxychloroquine is not the only one. So there's azithromycin, and those who are even severely ill, where they are intubated, we try remdesivir, which is an antiviral medication for compassionate use. So I'm sharing all of this to say that, we're in the medical community. We don't have the answers. We're still studying it. And as you heard, about 5 days ago, FDA just approved the first clinical trial for hydroxychloroquine to see whether it has any benefit at all. So far, all of the observational studies have shown that there is no benefit. And we have to think about what are the benefits. So, for instance, number one, we got to make sure, does it keep people from getting sick? There's no evidence that shows that. Number two, does it get people better when you use it? There's no evidence pointing to that. In fact, there's evidence showing otherwise.
So, for the people out there, especially to our audience, do not listen to anything Trump has to say about this drug. Don't ask your doctor for it. Don't play games with this.
And, the other important thing is that when you think about conditions like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis, those conditions run rampant in our community. And I have to tell you, I have a lot of patients with those conditions that I use hydroxychloroquine for. And, and these folks are appropriately being treated with that. But this medication is not without its risk. Obviously, every medication has a side effect. Some minor ones that hydroxychloroquine can cause is probably stomach discomfort, nausea, but even vision loss it can cause. But the more severe ones is cardiac arrest. That means the medication interferes with the electrical activity of your heart and cause you to have a cardiac arrest, Roland. So you certainly don't want to take that medication without a prescription or being advised by a doctor. So that's something very important that we have to keep in mind.
All right, Dr. Sidney Coupe. We surely appreciate it, sir. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure, Roland.
All right, go back to our panel here. Malik, do you actually believe Trump taking this drug? Really?
I don't know. People typically don't lie about drugs that they take.
Well,
so
actually, typically presidents don't lie, but this man lies a whole lot.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
No, actually, it's not neither here nor there. He lies a whole lot. He lies about lies.
Okay, and that's great, but I'm not going to question when someone says that they are taking a drug or they're not taking a drug. I'm not going to second guess whether or not they're taking the drug. He says that he's taking the drug, so if he's taking the drug, he's taking the drug. But the important thing about this, and I do agree that no one should listen to Donald Trump. No one should listen to me. No one should listen to you, nor Mustafa, nor the doctor that you had on. They should listen to their own doctor. When you're taking any medication, it doesn't matter what it is. Don't listen to what the people on television says. Talk to your doctor. Any decision that you make about your health should be in consultation with your doctor, not any of us. We can all have opinions on it, but at the end of the day, these are decisions that need to be made between you and your doctor. And if Donald Trump's doctor said that it makes sense for him to take hydroxychloroquine, then okay, but that's his decision.
I'll say this, Kelly. Listen to us before you listen to Donald Trump on anything, because this is a dude who lies about everything.
That's here and there, right? But this kind of hits home for me, specifically the hydroxychloroquine medicine, because I have, like the doctor said, I have a lot of family members who deal with the ailments that hydroxychloroquine treats. I have very close family members who have lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, skin conditions. It's not uncommon in the Black community for us to have these ailments, and for him to isolate this drug specifically to further the cause of, this is a cure for COVID. The conspiracy theorist in me, that's very small, but still there, can't help but wonder if there's a reason for that. Because he could have chosen any drug. He could have chosen any drug to exploit. And it had to be the one that a lot of African Americans and people of color use for ailments that are common within our respective communities. He very well might actually take it for other purposes. It's not like there's a monolith on rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and the like. I'm just saying who it affects the most, and it doesn't happen to be rich white men. That's all I'm saying.
Mustafa, to hear Trump just throw this sort of nonsense out there, I mean, game recognized game. You want to switch the subject. 91,000 Americans have died from this whole deal. And no one with any common sense, no doctor's just going to give the president of the person who's occupying the White House, experimental drug just for the hell of it. Yeah, okay, sure, dude. So you're telling us you're taking this drug, but you won't release your taxes. All right, we got you.
Right. Especially this drug. We know that the president, he's reckless with the tongue. We can say it that way. He also, unfortunately, just creates these scenarios and these situations, as everybody else has been sharing, that is impactful to real people in their real lives. My sister has lupus. When people started rushing out and getting this drug, she had difficulty in actually being able to get it. So the president just needs to be more serious and more careful, changing the narrative. Everybody knows that he's played a huge role and has a lot of responsibility in the numbers of lives that are being lost. And we can unpack that. Anybody who ever wants to debate that fact, we can take it clear back to the beginning. So for him to continue down this road, if he really wanted to change the narrative, do some things that are actually promoting good. Work with the Republicans on the Senate side to make sure the stimulus bills actually have what's needed in there to actually give the states and local governments what they need to be able to properly fight the epidemic that we find ourselves in.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Now, of course, we're seeing what's going on again around this country, just all kind of craziness, and how people's health is being impacted, what's happening, of course, when it comes to our businesses. And that is an important issue here, because even though the economy, even though states are slowly opening up, the question is, will the folks who work there, the people who actually visit these businesses, will they return? Joining us right now is John Hope Bryant. He is the founder of Operation Hope. John, glad to have you back. You posted a tweet earlier about that, about, look, it's one thing to say, sure, you're open for business, but will the customers return?
Yeah. And, bottom line is, and no one wants to say this, but companies, shopping malls, major employers, minor employers are all afraid of being sued. They're afraid that if they don't make a COVID compliant environment where they can certify you're safe, that somebody's gonna come back and work, get sick, and sue them. And we haven't had a pandemic in 120 years in the world, so nobody knows what the legal precedent for that is, and no one wants to have a law firm racking up hours trying to figure it out. And so as a result, everybody's like, look, stay at home and chill until this is over. But that's not going to work either. So my guess is you're going to have COVID compliant environments coming up here soon. You're going to have a criteria for COVID-19 compliant environments. And what does that mean? You're going to have a shopping mall saying, sign this waiver, you can go shopping. Otherwise, I'm sorry. But that's in the future. Yes. So there are issues. As usual, it goes back to money, why things are happening or not happening. It's uncharted territory.
You, of course, have been helping a number of folks out there navigate this whole PPP world. And despite some saying, oh, my God, you got to get in now, the reality is there's money that's still there. People are still applying for PPP loans and receiving it.
Yeah, it's $100 billion plus sitting there right now in the second tranche. The first tranche went like that. The second tranche, there's still $100 billion plus sitting there. Yeah, I just sent you a flyer, Roland. The SBA, myself, my friend T.I., we're doing a 100,000 small business strong conference call tomorrow, trying to get 100,000 black businesses. The only person who can get 100,000 of anybody in one place in the black community is you, and probably the federal government offering free money. So tomorrow that happens. T.I. is using his voice to try to get us to apply. Now, here's some startling numbers. According to a recent study I just saw today, only 12% of Black and Latino businesses that applied for this money got it.
Hold on, 12?
12%.
Wow.
A study I just read today. Now, just before everybody starts jumping up and down and saying this is racism and all that kind of stuff, the game is changed, folks. This is not racism. This is classism. And the problem here is that the statistics that sort of thwart that are my own. We've had 47,000 client engagements in the last 6 weeks, Roland, at Operation Hope. And of the Black businesses that we've helped shepherd through this process for free, by the way, through our Hope Inside coaching, we've approved 100% of them. So if the issue is just race, it should be, we got, denial at 80% plus of our applications. What we have had to do is to be the financial coach, the financial business manager for 96% of our businesses don't have any employees, my man.
Right. And that's the piece that people don't understand. That the latest number, that there are 2.6 million Black-owned businesses, 2.5 million have one employee. And then when you talk about, and so the money that is being so in our case, okay, you guys helped us. We were able to get 38,000, but the money can only be used towards payroll. So the issue is, for instance, so the rent, you talk about, and when you talk about the payroll, that was only for people who are full-time employees. I've got half of my people are 1099.
Yeah.
So I could not put that 1099, those employees, in this because they had to be full-time employees. And so now imagine other Black businesses, if they have, quote, employees, but they're 1099s, then you can't, they don't count. Those are all the different, little things you have to understand about this.
So, but 10 ones also equal 10. And by the way, I commend you, Roland, for getting your money. You didn't let anything set between you and your paycheck. You got to make sure you got your money. Operation got our money. 100 Black Men's founder Tommy Dorch got his money. My girl Susan Taylor at CARES, and National CARES Network, got her money. There's a whole bunch of folks that I don't have at liberty to mention their name, but these are household names who were confused too. So don't feel bad, everybody out there. Everybody was confused, but they got clarity real quick when they realized there's real money on the other side. But here's the deal. Yes, it's PPP, but it's also just a low interest loan with no payments for a while. Go get that too. They're giving the money away. It's less than 3%. Number three, even if you don't qualify for any of this, if you breathe in a mirror and walk, and you're a nonprofit, a church, or a small business, you get 10 grand. When's the last time the federal government gave you money? Or anybody, for that matter, gave you $10,000 or $1,000. Go get your money. Go apply for this thing. Number two, 1099, companies with 1099, they also, or 1099 gig economy type businesses, also qualify. So if you're an Uber driver, you also qualify. Also, the earned income tax credit. So if you make $54,000 a year or less, and you got children, the government owes you a check, and it's retroactive for 3 years. So you got 10 grand from the federal government from PPP, the CARE Act, another 10 grand from EITC, another 5 grand because you got 2 people in the household plus a child from the individual money that came through. That's $25,000 in a month. We got to be smart about this. Go get your money. That's the theme of this conversation today. We got to stop the complaining. Yes, the website's going to crash. They created the 8th largest bank in America in 2 weeks. Of course, it's going to be a crap show. Of course, the website's going to crash. The phone line's going to be busy. The banker's not going to prioritize you because you thought a banker was a teller at the bank branch. That's not your banker, okay? You need a private banker relationship or a relationship with a banker. And it's unfortunately probably too late to go get one in the middle of a crisis, but we can help you. Operation Hope can do it for free. We will be your bridge over troubled water. And everybody's running to the biggest banks trying to get PPP. When they do it, well, those big banks have clients sitting there with millions of dollars on deposit.
Right.
Who do you think they're going to talk to first? Go to a little credit union that's SBA qualified. Go to a Black-owned bank or Latino-owned bank or a small community bank. I went to a little Southern bank in Tennessee. I got access to everybody, Roland. I went to a little Southern bank in Tennessee because there was no line for their applications for PPP. We have got to start mastering this financial literacy game. That's the civil rights issue for the 21st century.
Well,
financial literacy.
Right, and that's why one of the things that in terms of how I purposely want to use this platform is not spending our time with woe is we, but like, okay, how do we now get around this? The reality is this here: if you don't know, you can know. If you don't know, align with people who do this, who that's their job to walk you through. And yes, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time putting your records together, getting your payroll information, all those different things. But if I'm sitting here and I got the opportunity to pick up 10, 15, 20, 30, 100,000, you got other businesses that are much larger because you can get the max is what, 10 million?
10 million, yeah.
For a business. And then it's like, I'm going to do that because it's about staying in business. And look, you got to do what's right. Yeah, you got some people out there who've already pissed off the money or spent it on stupid stuff. But look, they are the exception, not the norm. But we've got to be able to buckle down and say, look, participate. You got to be in the game. You look, the most guaranteed way to get no money is not to apply.
You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take, okay? Hank Aaron had the record for the most home runs, but he also had the record for the most strikeouts, right? He's swinging at that bat. We have got to get in this game and swing at this bat. Okay, here's our problem. We don't trust banks. We don't trust the government, okay? And we don't have our back-end records in place. So this thing was like a black swan, no pun intended. It was that's a Wall Street term. It was just a perfect storm of all bad things. But by the way, Roland, we're brilliant. Like when the rules are published and the playing field is level, we kill it. I mean, we're killing it in the F1 racing. We're killing it in golf and tennis. Not even our sports. Why can't we kill it in capitalism, free enterprise, entrepreneurship? The new the best way to stop a bullet in our community is a job. Your viewers have got to become job creators. We have got to move from just civil rights to silver rights. A movement in the suites, not just the streets, about class and poverty. This new color, Roland, is green. It's not black or white. I just told you, 13% of some black businesses didn't get it. But 100% of black businesses that I talked to got it, and they got it from sources, in many cases, that were, you want to call it white banks. But they also got it from black banks. They got it from Latino banks. Susan Taylor got hers from a black fintech. My man Tommy George got himself from a black-owned community bank. I got mine from a mainstream Southern institution, for my nonprofit. I chose not to apply for my for-profit because I was a part of the design process for the program, and I thought it was unfair. But we have got to go get our money. We got to stop. We've got to master this game. I mean, we farm club kids in middle school and elementary school to football. Who's farm clubbing entrepreneurs? Who's farm clubbing business owners? No one. Who's farm clubbing financial literacy? So of course we are at a disadvantage. But complaining about it, as you said, is not going to do anything about it. But you end up broke and complaining about it. We have got to use this as free venture capital. As a friend of mine said to me, Roland, this is free 99.
Right. I mean, bottom line is this here: if you keep the people employed, you ain't got to pay the money back.
And even if you don't have employees, that's truly free money. Free 99. And Operation Hope. So somebody's watching going, well, what's the get? What's the hitch? Like, is John Bryan going to hit me with a fee for getting my money? No. Is John Bryan going to hit me for a fee for free credit counseling? No. In fact, not only will we help you get your money from the CARE Act, we will do through our Hope Inside coaches. We'll help you restructure your mortgage, modify your credit cards, negotiate on your student loan, talk to your landlord, give you a break there. We're implementing a grant, which I don't have time to. I'm not going to talk about now, but we're doing mini grants at Operation Hope in about 2 weeks for those who we provide coaching packages for. If you need $200, $300, $400 to make everything work, our coaches will be empowered to give a certain number of people grants. That I'm paying for that. Operation Hope is paying for that ourselves. It's not ready to launch right now, so everybody don't bum rush our call saying John Bryan said you got $300 for you. But my point is that we are wrapping a whole network of services around our community to give you that support you need, to take away the excuses and the frustration, and we got relationships with the banks. So what are we waiting for?
Great point. John, where can folks reach you?
Oh, 888-388-HOPE. Go online to Apple or Android and download the Hope in Hand app, or just go to operationhope.org and tell them John Hope Bryant sent you. We're in 22, or Roland Martin. We're in 22 states, and we are here to help. We've already served 4 million clients.
Folks, you can't say you didn't get the information. That's why we do
$3.99.
why we do what we do. Oh, hold up. Somebody did send me a text. They said, ask John about the EIDL Economic Injury Disaster Loan.
Yeah, it's a great program. That's the program. That's a parallel program to the PPP. That's low interest and no payments for a while. And go get it. Go get that too. Look, we've been complaining. This is what kills me, Roland. We've been whining and complaining forever. We can't get access to capital. We can't get loans. We can't get equity. We can't look. The government just gave you equity. If you have employees, the government just gave you equity. You don't pay it back. If they get you want access to low cost debt. You want to act like you're a rich company. Go get this loan that he just described, because it is like no. I mean, they're just giving money away. 2-3% interest, right? No payments. And by the way, Roland, you and I know this is not over. America's got racial problems. We got political problems. We can't agree on nothing. But one thing we know is not going to happen. America's not going broke, because when this hit poor people, P.O. not we so poor we can't afford the O.R. P.O. When it hit poor people, it also hit our rich friends. The billionaires got to hit at the same time everybody got to hit. So they get their money. Don't worry about it. This crisis is going to get solved. They're going to probably throw another $1.5 trillion before this is over at solving this. And my job, your job, is help make sure that our folks get an allocation of that. I'm calling for a new Marshall Plan. Tell this viewer or this person who just texted you, go apply for it. You should apply for every possible thing you can right now, or as my daddy used to say, right now.
Folks, go to my iPad, please. Again, there's going to be a conversation that will be live streamed. You see it right here. T.I., Ashley Bell, SBA Regional Administrator, and John Hope Bryant. It's going to be live streamed at vekeo.com/small business administration / And so I will post this on my Instagram page, my Facebook page, and my Twitter page as well. Y'all check this out. It's taking place tomorrow. Now here's the deal, y'all. So the live stream is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Now, I'm live at 6 p.m. So y'all can watch me and then watch the replay.
Yeah, watch Roland.
All right, John Hope Bryant, we appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Love and light.
All right, take care. Folks, got to go to a break. We come back. We'll talk about the Miami Police Department releasing a report on the black man, the doctor, who was handcuffed. They said he was throwing out trash. We'll give the details when we come back. Roland Martin Unfiltered. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. All right, folks, got an opportunity for you with Ceek, of course, black-owned company. Mary Spiel, the sister she designed, of course, is virtual reality headset right here, and also 4D 360-degree headphones. You get opportunity to get these with a discount. Show it up, please. Here is the code that you can use if you're getting the Ceek discount. The website is Ceek.com, CEEK.com. Of course, this headset allows for you to watch virtual reality on their site or other sites as well. That's VR. And then, of course, gamers can love this headset, or you can listen to the music. Hardwired, but also it is Bluetooth. Guys, come on, pull up the lower third, please. There's a promo code that you can use to institute to be able to use this. Where is it, guys? Come on. What are y'all doing? Okay, you're supposed to have this promo code. And so, again, these are the headsets right here. I love the sound on these. Basically gives you this 360-degree sound as you're using it. And then, of course, what you do, of course, with the headset here, just simply pop in your phone right in here. And then you're able to actually experience their videos in virtual reality. It literally puts you in the room to actually watch the video. And so there's a promo code. Thank you. There we go. Please. The promo code is simply put in RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020 if you want to get the headset or the headphones. And so that's what you can do to support the folks with Ceek.com. All right, folks. A Miami police officer was justified in handcuffing and detaining a black doctor outside of his home last month. That's according to an internal police investigation. But they did determine that the officer violated department rules by yelling at the doctor and not wearing a face mask. Now, this is the video that took place. Now, Miami police investigated this officer for improper procedure for placing Henderson in handcuffs without cause, discourtesy for yelling at Henderson and pointing in his face, improper procedure for failing to wear protective face masks during the pandemic, and improper procedure again for failing to alert dispatch that he had conducted an investigative stop. Now, Mustafa, what's interesting about this, they say that the officer was in the right because he thought that this guy was standing next to his van throwing out trash, okay? Here's the problem I have with this. Why do you have to handcuff somebody to inquire as to what they're doing? That's what I don't understand. The officer if you go to play the video here, officer pulls up and he says, well, in the area they were dumping trash. First of all, he's coming from the opposite direction. How in the world can you ascertain what this guy is doing? And then, of course, as you see, he's talking to him, and he's explaining to him, and the doctor's explaining, like, wait a minute, here's the deal. Why do you I don't get this whole deal of you have to handcuff somebody in order to ask them questions.
It's a power dynamic. It always is a power dynamic in our communities in relationship to the police and to ourselves. It harkens back to the days of the black codes in the late 1800s, where they could literally snatch up black men, say it was vagrancy or whatever particular thing that they wanted to trump up at that time, and it continues to play out in 2020. It's also an opportunity to continue to dehumanize folks and just to let them know that, you know, we're going to keep you in your place.
Malik, it's crazy. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Like, if you play the video there, he's talking to him, and all of a sudden you can see an officer sort of gets pissed off, and then he puts him in handcuffs.
Yeah, I don't know. We had some sound there. But, you know, as someone who lives in a community where they often illegally dump, and I know that people do patrol that, but as you said, it's impossible for him to know what this gentleman was doing when he was coming from the opposite direction. But this is another example of where police should really practice some de-escalation. Unfortunately, this wasn't a situation where it was really out of control. The guy, he was very calm, and even when he put the cuffs on him, he was very calm about it. But the officer owed him that de-escalation, and it sounds like in all of those instances that the department named where the officer erred, they did everything but say that he was wrong for stopping him at the beginning. I mean, the fact that he didn't report it or some investigative stop, yeah, that's in all likelihood BS, but I'm glad this was a situation that ended up, but I still don't understand what it is that he was hoping to gain from that particular encounter, unless it was to harass the guy. I don't know what else he's sitting there. He's in jeans. He has a mask on. He has a truck. He's in front of a house. I don't know what else the officer was expecting in that moment, but to harass him from the moment that he pulled up.
And Kelly, again, I mean, the whole point, look, I don't care who you are. You don't want to get slapped in handcuffs. Cops do this all the time, but it's always amazing how it involves black people. Slapping in handcuffs, now walking him over to the car, now talking to him. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm sorry. You don't want to be dehumanized and slapping some handcuffs on you when all you're doing is putting stuff into your van.
It is so frustrating for me to keep seeing videos like this, to know that in 2020, people still think that black skin, just by default, is dangerous. You can't do anything in your skin that your white counterpart can do. Going to the bathroom, sleeping in your house, playing with a BB gun in a park, walking from 7-Eleven with Skittles and its sweet tea. Like, it is always something that triggers white supremacists and white people who have an affinity for whiteness, period. It always triggers something within them to dehumanize us just because we're darker than them. And it's disgusting to me how in 2020, we still have to say we are human too. We are like you too. We're no more or less dangerous than you. If anything, we're less dangerous than you based off of history. So again, for him to be handcuffed, for doing what he is just doing, like just living, it's absolutely disgusting. And again, I keep saying this on your show, and I'll reiterate it here. If you have a racial bias and you are in a client-facing position at work, such as a police officer, administration, anything that encounters human-to-human contact in any regard, and you have a racial bias, you don't need that job. There are plenty of professions and vocations out there that do not require human interaction, and we need them too. But what we don't need is people dehumanizing us because you don't know what a human is. It's about time that you leave that position.
Is my mic still up?
You there?
Yes, commercial showing.
Oh, okay.
Contributing $50 each for the whole year, you can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. All right, so a lot of y'all are always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they make about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. And what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. So therefore, it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these Shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. So it's RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website, and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, it goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. What is wrong with these people who cannot wear a damn mask when they go into stores? I don't understand these people. Here is this idiot at a Costco. Watch this.
I'll just put you on my 3,000 follower Instagram feed, mostly locals.
Hi everyone, I work for Costco and I'm asking this member to put on a mask because that is our company policy. So either wear the mask
And I'm not doing it because I woke up in a free country.
Have a great day.
So you're going to take this car from me.
Sir, have a great
Full
day.
of stuff.
You are no longer welcome here in our warehouse. You need to leave. Thank you very
Here,
much.
you put it on, I'll give you my card. He's going to take the card away because he's a pussy little bitch. There he is, walking away with all my stuff. There he goes. Because I'm not a fucking sheep. I'll just put you on my 3,000 followers.
I've got no, let me tell you something right now. I have no issue with these people who blast these fools, who ignore these fools, who take the groceries back, who kick them out, because this shows you the level of pure ignorance and arrogance, Kelly, where, I woke up in a free country, like coronavirus is not real. Now, here's the thing that's crazy. There's a sign outside most stores that say, no shirt, no shoes, no service.
No service.
And your country ass put a shirt on, but now you tripping because of a mask. And there are places where they give you masks, and they still say, no, I'm not going to take it. Well, you know what? I'm with homeboy. Damn you and your card. Take the groceries. Y'all go somewhere else.
The government is trying to save your life. These policies are in place to preserve your life. So the fact that you don't want your life saved is baffling to me. Like you want your guns, you want babies in terms of pro-life, but you don't want to take care of the babies. That's neither here nor there. You want all these things and equated to freedom. I don't see how a face mask is restricting your freedom when it is giving you freedom to move about. Because but for the mask, you can't move about. So the whole premise to me is just dumb. Like, these people are just dumb. I don't see how it is restrictive or anything of that nature. It's like the one time somebody tells you not to do something, that's when you throw a hissy fit, whether it's for your own good or not. People are just dumb. I don't have anything else to say other than that. Like, people are just dumb. If you don't want to wear a mask, there's Instacart. There are other delivery services that will drop it off at your doorstep with no human interaction whatsoever. But so long as you are in and out of the public and other people have to be around you, why not just do what's right and wear a mask? It's very, very simple.
Yeah, and they are just sitting here, Mustafa, just cussing folks out, yelling, screaming, acting the fool because they simply asked you to wear a mask.
Well, you don't have an inherent right to put other people's lives in danger. There are laws on the books about folks who have, communicable diseases and other things. And if they expose somebody to that, then they can be legally responsible. That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that when people see the leader of, the United States of America not wearing a mask, many of the folks who are surrounding him, who are part of his cabinet, in the inner circle, not wearing a mask, they think that it must be okay for me not to wear a mask. So yes, there is personal responsibility, but the other part of the responsibility paradigm is that the leaders in your country should be showing a responsible way of addressing what's going on with COVID-19.
All right, so before I go to Malik, I got to show y'all. This is a really hilarious one. This is from a grocery store in California. Watch this.
Specifically is not allowing any customer or employee inside the store without a mask of some sort of kind.
Okay, so I need to talk to a manager because...
I will absolutely humbly go get a manager
Yeah.
for you if you'd like to hang out with me for
Awesome.
just a moment. If not, we can provide you with one.
I'm not wearing a mask.
Okay, understood. Allow
Perfect.
me just a moment and I'll
Go ahead.
reassure you.
Go ahead. Hi. Hi, I have a medical condition that I'm not allowed to wear a mask, and I'm not required by HIPAA rules and regulations to disclose that.
Okay, can we shop for you?
So, what does that look like? I have private things I want to get that maybe I don't want you to
shop
see.
for you, but I can't let you in the store without a mask.
Okay, so where's the regulations that state that?
The regulations?
Yeah.
That is company
Because you're
policy.
discriminating against me now. Do you know that?
I'm
You're
offering
discriminating
here
against
that
me.
we can help you.
No, because I have private stuff that I don't want you to see.
Then you can call corporate office, but I can't help you.
Okay, well, you guys can get a lawsuit because you can't discriminate.
I'm trying to help you, but I'm
No,
not going to
you can't. How's that helping when you're gonna do shopping for me? I'm gonna give you my bank information.
I'm doing the best I can
How do I
with you.
how do I do the transaction?
Transactions will do for you.
No, I'm gonna give you my credit card, my private credit card, for you to go and take and pay with my.
We're trying to help you. Best
How's
we
that
can.
helping me?
Miss, call corporate office. I'm sorry.
Okay, I need a card. Do you have a card for them?
I sure can.
That'd be great. This is Shelley Lewis. I'm at Dana Point, Gelson's. So if anybody wants to shop here, you have to have a mask. And here is the policies, which state that they will shop for me, take my money, my private credit card, and utilize that. I'm going to just let them go do that. So no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. But you're pretty chipper. You're pretty chipper. Huh? You're happy?
Why not be?
Why are you happy?
Normally I'm a bartender and I wouldn't have a Gus.
Yeah.
If not the Gus's.
Well, good. I mean, I'm glad you...
All right. First of all, now this idiot Malik is this woman Shelley. She's some flat earther, anti-vaxxer, whatever the hell. So we already know she's nuts. She is a MAGA supporter, so she's nuts too. But what's crazy about this whole deal is I have private things I don't want you to see. Boo, it's a grocery store. So if you actually brought it to the counter, they're gonna see it because they have to scan it. Then she says, no, I'm not giving you my private card. Boo, when you go to the counter, many times we hand the person our credit card to swipe.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Hats off to, once again, our frontline workers. Hats off. I was enjoying the guy. He said that I'm going to dance anyway. I don't care if you record it or not.
Right, and she's like,
I'm
why are
gonna
you
dance.
happy? Maybe I'm happy because your ignorant ass can't come into the store.
Yeah, and I will say this, is that, we could talk about Trump supporter or MAGA, and I will actually push back on Mustafa. I don't think this has anything to do with what the President of the United States does, and I can use my own community as an example of that, where people are not practicing social distancing, people are not wearing masks, and for the most part, I can pretty much assure you that none of the people that live in my neighborhood are concerned about Donald Trump. Up the street from my house, probably a 10-minute walk from my house, is the only supermarket in the district that serves a ward that's about 70 or so thousand people. And they had to put the National Guard at the door because people were saying that they weren't going to wear masks. So now when you go up there to the store, it doesn't matter what time of the day, a member of the National Guard is actually sitting outside the store. But I think we should I think it's important that we actually point out that they're not asking you to wear masks with filters. you can have something
A
covering
cloth,
and that
a cloth mask. You can have a bandana. But no, but see, but these people, I'm in America. Now, it's free, home of the brave. I don't care. I'm wearing nothing. Like some spoiled ass brats.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And I've seen people actually do that where they were told they couldn't come into the store and they pulled a T-shirt over there or they pulled something over their face. So this is not and I know the ultimate goal is to stop the spread of coronavirus, but the fact is that many of the masks that people are wearing are already contaminated. The mask that I wear is not even a filtered mask, but it does give the appearance that I'm protecting myself from people who may have any type of comorbidities or things like that. So again, you can put something over your face. You can put your T-shirt over your face. They just want you to wear something covering your face. And I imagine it's for liability purposes so that the store can say that we've implemented these policies and that we're having people adhere to these policies. But that the woman and all of that she was talking about, she didn't want them to get her credit card information that they would get anyway. And the nonsense, the utter nonsense of her saying that because of HIPAA laws and whatever her pre-existing condition is, that she's exempt from the requirement of wearing a mask. Because in any hospital she goes into with that pre-existing condition, they're going to have her wear a mask. So she sounds ridiculous.
These people are absolutely nuts. They're absolutely nuts. All right, folks, let's talk to a couple of our next guests. That you know, of course, their music quite well. The legendary Clark Sisters biopic that aired on Lifetime was the highest rated movie of the year. You missed it? Take a look.
I need this scripture. What's the scripture? God gives sunshine to the righteous. Hey, y'all, come here. Come down here right quick. Right quick. I got a song. What is that? Yeah. Where Nisa? Come on. I got a new song, but it's a secret. So that means you can't tell Mama, Jackie.
Y'all act like I tell Mama everything.
You do.
Kiss my foot. Now, what's the secret?
With you, Tweet. Now, how y'all know that's Stevie Wonder?
I ain't deaf. I hear it in the street all the time. How can you not hear it?
They can sing that? No. Yes, we can. Because we're going to be singing it to the Lord.
All right. Yeah.
So, y'all, repeat after me. Say this. You made my day.
You made my day.
Okay, y'all got it. Say, you came my way.
You came my way.
Yes. Say, you hurt me every time I pray.
You hurt me every time I pray.
They are now releasing new music with folks like Snoop Dogg and Jermaine Dupri. Joining me right now is Karen Clark Sheard and Dorinda Clark Cole of the Clark Sisters. What's up, y'all?
Hi.
Glad to have both of you on the show. So tell me, it has been quite an interesting ride. Were y'all shocked with the response folks had to this movie?
Yeah, well, I mean, not really shocked, but because those that followed us down through the years, especially those of us that have been in the church, they kind of knew our story, but they never saw it laid out like it was on the on film. So to actually see it all play the way it did, I mean, it was just, I was crying with everybody else, you know. That's how shocked we were, and then we were shocked of the response that the people gave us. It was just amazing.
Karen?
Yes, I was pretty shocked because it was people that we actually didn't know that was aware of our music or knew of the Clark sisters. And we heard our friends saying, you know, our co-workers was asking us, who are these Clark sisters? You know, the movie was great. So I was pretty shocked that it was even opened up outside to the outside world of the church.
The thing well, first of all, that night, of course, when it aired, I mean, it was trending. It was crazy. People had no idea about the backstory as well. And I think it was also great. It introduced a whole new generation of people to the Clark sisters.
It did. It really did. And that was what we were really, really happy about, because it was a whole new generation that never knew the Clark sisters. And it's like now the mamas are telling the children about us. And so now the children know about us. And now they're going to tell their grandchildren about us. So it was really, it was amazing to see how it really played out, that everybody was at home to see it. Because Roland, if they had been, if we had been out in the theaters, then they probably wouldn't have been able to, you know, we wouldn't have been able to have those many people watching at one time.
Karen?
Absolutely, I agree. Let me just say this. Thank you for having us, Roland Martin.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be on your show. And it's, to me, this was just like another open door for us to tap into another part of our ministry, and to reach others, or if we could give another positive message to families, to mothers, to single mothers. My mother she had divorced, but she continued to progress in the success of her career with all five of us, bringing us up on our own. So it just tapped into ministering to a lot of different people, different eras in life.
So you talk about this new music working on, and so people would say, really? Y'all still sitting here playing around with me, Snoop Dogg and Jermaine Dupri?
Right. Right. And you know what? It's so crazy that you said that, because we thought that our career was kind of ended. Of course, Twinkie would say that now, but seeing that we had taken part in this project this time, of course, we got to give a shout out to our nephew, J. Drew, who actually came up with this whole concept and said that, you know, I just want to have my mama and my aunties. I just want to do it just one time, and just see if we can, you know, pull this off. And he did a fantastic job. He connected with Snoop. He connected with Jermaine. He connected with Warren and then Rodney Jerkins. And the project is absolutely just amazing to me, because we've been out here over 20-something years, Roland. And, you know, it's like, is our career ended yet?
But obviously this movie has changed that. I would suspect, Karen, that that y'all phone has been ringing off the hook. Folks trying to book y'all, huh?
Already, Roland. I mean, they're like asking for tours and people calling us.
But let's be clear, the fee has also gone up too, right?
Oh, you have officially been our manager right now.
The fee has gone up. Let's be clear.
Absolutely. I'm telling you. And so we're ready as soon as things, you know, until God says it's time for the world to open up. Well, our side of the world to open up. And of course, we're ready to go out and continue to. I mean, to me, it's just like an open door to the next phase of our career. So, yeah, it is a blessing to, I guess, upgrade everything. We're just going to have, and it's going to be to a point where it'll be, you know, at a balanced area where we'll be able to tap in with everybody.
Well, what I love about the fact is that, again, a new generation gets to embrace the music, and, again, people get to show their appreciation. And I think what the movie showed is that the audience says, yo, we still here. I mean, it reminds me of when, about 4 or 5 years ago, Lionel Richie, he thought he had pretty much finished touring in the United States. I mean, he's huge overseas. Then when he decides to put out his album Tuskegee, because somebody reminded him that he was a member of also the Country Music Academy. And nearly every major country artist wanted to be on that album. Puts it out, shoots to #1 on the country charts, and he tours around the United States. And we were texting, and he said, Roland, he said, I just thought, you know what, it was just the rest of the world. He says, that's why all these years I just stopped touring in the United States. But the public was like, no, we still want to hear you sing the hits. And his tour, singing the hits, has been now going on. This is probably, I think, the 3rd or 4th year. Even had a residency in Vegas.
Yeah. And that happens a lot with, even with us, singing You Brought the Sunshine. Because now we cannot leave the stage without singing that song, either that one or Is My Living in Vain. You know, if we don't sing our hit, they're going to throw eggs at us.
Karen, go ahead.
Yeah. So you have that breath of fresh air when you get, like you said, a whole nother generation that is taking on to your music, and thanks to Mary J. and of course Missy Elliott and then Queen Latifah for being the executive producers of our movie, because now they actually see those that have not seen us sing. They saw the movie, so now they'll be able to see all of that. So it's bringing another breath of fresh air to it.
Karen, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually, while she was talking, I thought about, even the next generation of the younger people, where my daughter, the age, the 30-year-olds and the 20-year-olds, and then you see the kids, that their mothers and their grandmothers are passing our name down to. So yeah, it's when we thought that it was going to be over, when we thought that, okay, our time is up, it seems like, wow, this is a whole nother world that people are tapping into, trying to figure us out or know who we are. So we count that an honor. It's such an honor to do that. So we're not going to stop until God's, say, oh, I guess we're going to be old and gray singing You Brought the Sunshine.
Of course, absolutely. All right, we got some questions from our panelists. First up is Kelly.
I'm just so insanely tickled and giddy that I'm able to even talk to you all. It is an honor. I have sung many of your songs in church and performed. I'm just beside myself. So thank you is what I'm trying to say. My question to you is, like, outside of this movie, really, what's next? Or what do you want to do?
Well, this is Dorinda. I want to get a star.
Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Sisters to have a star on out there in L.A.
All right, Hollywood Walk of Fame. Okay. Karen?
It's overdue. It is overdue.
Well, Roland, you got a lot of clout. I believe you can help us out.
I know a couple of people.
Petitions now.
I know a couple of people.
Exactly, but yeah, that would be a great honor. And then, of course, it would be something that, of course, what's happening now is something that my mother prayed for. That many people see how great of a woman she was, and how progressive she was, even in the days where women, wasn't supposed to be at her status then, back in those days, and to see how powerful she was. So that would be a great honor on her behalf. And just her prayers that she prayed for us to succeed. She had her gold record, and just, I guess she prayed for us to get our platinum. So I'm just looking forward to that happening.
Mustafa.
Yeah, it's an honor to be with you all. I was raised in a family of Baptist and Pentecostal ministers and deacons and deaconesses, so you've been a part of my journey for a long time. So I'm curious. You guys have won numerous awards. Which one sort of touches you the most? Is it Grammys? Is it the James Cleveland Lifetime Achievement Award? which one really resonates with you all?
Well, to me, I think the Grammys is kind of the highest that you can get for music. And so I always, and you know, when we won those 3 Grammys, we won in all 3 categories. So that was really monumental for us because we were nominated, but we, you know, never had won until, you know, we were nominated for 3 categories. And so that's always an honor because, you know, that was our field. But Roland, we are looking for, everybody keeps talking about these Emmys and stuff. So that's the next thing we're looking for.
No, I mean, look, I wouldn't be shocked to be up for made-for-TV movie. So I think you're talking about Emmy, NAACP Image Award. I think all that's going to be coming down the pipe. Melik, what's your question?
Is my living?
Oh, hell, no. What's your question? I ain't trying to hear you sing, Melik. What's your question? If I got I got 2 Clark sisters and Melik. Trust me, I ain't picking you to sing.
I don't care, Roland. As bad as I can sing, I will sing that song.
You can hum. You can hum.
Well, it's so much that we can say. I'm from Mississippi. I grew up in the Kojic community, Baptist community. So you all are pretty much mainstays, have been mainstays in much of our lives. One of the questions that I really would like to know, and in fact, it's a question for both Karen and Dorinda. How did you ladies feel with the job that Kiara did? Because it was breathtaking. I mean, I think her performance was absolutely awesome. So I just wanted to get your take on how did you think about, like, I'm sure you guys were really proud of Kiara.
Karen, go ahead.
Yeah. I actually was teary-eyed. Of course, I was there at the set when she was performing, and my eyes just bucked, and I started crying. Like, okay, this is my daughter. She has another gift inside of her that I didn't know. So I thought she did a magnificent job. As a matter of fact, all of the girls did a magnificent job. And of course, my daughter, she is. She inspires me, you know, even in my old age. So I'm just so godly proud of her. She did a great job. And let me just put this out there, you know, even during her performance, she came and she asked me, she said, "Oh, Mom," she said, "how in the world did you all make it through, you know, all of this you all went through?" Because she didn't know actually that we had went through all of this. And she said, "I got a whole nother respect and appreciation." So that was very endearing, you know, to know that even our daughters and our sons and nephews, you know, they saw that we, you know, went through our trials and tribulations, and we set a path for her, you know, and for even the generation to come, you know, to make the way for them. And to know that, you know, that soon we'll have to pass the baton. So that was just so endearing to even hear her say that, to give that respect.
All right. Dorinda?
Well, I was really crying. Like I said, it was a whole lot of scenes that I was crying on again because we had saw it before everybody seen it. But this particular time, of course, the part when Kiara, of course, at the funeral, everybody talks about that part at the funeral. And when I saw Kiara go off on my sister Denise, I was like, Kiara, that's exactly how your mama would do it. You know, it was just, and these girls, if I could say, these girls really played us. You would have thought that they walked with us during all of these scenes. I mean, they watched them YouTube clips and got us down pat. It was just amazing to see that. Yes.
Now y'all have met tons of people and you come across some people, but is there anybody in particular that y'all have heard from since the movie where y'all went, did they just call us?
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, it was so many people.
I'm thinking of Jamie Foxx. Yeah. What's my girl's name? Lord have mercy. played in on Empire.
Taraji P. Henson.
Oh my goodness. That right there, I mean, with her bad acting self, I mean, that just shocked me, you know, to even see the response that we got from her. And I mean, just people of their caliber, that was a shocker. It was a shocker.
Dorinda?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was so many people. Of course, Snoop and it was a lot of people. I can't even remember, but all like you said, that is exactly what did they just call us? Did you know so and so? Did you know what? Did you know? That's the way we were the whole time, you know, during the movie, you know, or even right after the movie. So it was amazing. It really was.
Well, look, certainly congratulations. We've crossed paths many a times at events, on red carpets. And so all the love of y'all getting is certainly appreciated and warranted. And so we're looking forward to the new music.
Thank you
so much,
Roland. I
Roland.
appreciate
Really appreciate it. Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks a bunch. We appreciate it. All right, folks. Got to go to break. We come back. We'll talk about the NFL, how they making some modifications to their Rooney Rule because it don't look good for black coaches and black and brown coaches in the NFL. We'll explain that to Roland Martin Unfiltered. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Most NFL clubs today have adopted new procedures in diversity, equity, and inclusion. In approving a resolution and other rules changes, league officials will implement wide-sweeping workplace reforms to increase employment opportunities and advancement for minorities and women across the league. In a statement, Pittsburgh Steelers owner and chairman of the Workplace Diversity Committee, Art Rooney, said, quote, "We believe these new policies demonstrate the NFL owners' commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion in the NFL. The development of young coaches and young executives is a key to our future. These steps will assure coaching and football personnel are afforded a fair and equitable opportunity to advance throughout our football operations. We also have taken important steps to ensure that our front offices, which represent our clubs in so many different ways, come to reflect the true diversity of our fans and our country." Really? Joining me now is Jason Reed. He is the senior NFL writer for The Undefeated. Jason, look, here's the deal. You got Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator, Kansas City Chiefs. They win the Super Bowl, not hired anywhere to be a head coach. Glaring example. Ron Rivera, Latino, gets hired in Washington, but he was already the coach in California, didn't have any increase. The reality is, when people talk about the league and the owners, let's cut the crap. The league is the owners. They control everything. And so if you want to say where does the buck stop, the fundamental issue why you have not seen the kind of advancement, not only when it comes to black coaches, but also black executives and folks in other offices, is because the owners have not made it happen.
Yeah, absolutely, Roland. And the reality of it is, for all of the changes and all the things that they are implementing with this new plan, the one thing that they need most is not an enforcement mechanism to say, hey, if you're not hiring these qualified people of color, then we're going to have to do some things about it. And there's no enforcement mechanism because these owners are not going to punish themselves. So you can implement all kind of changes. You can do different things and hope that it changes the culture. But at the end of the day, the Rooney Rule has been in place since 2003. That was supposed to change the culture. Did it help somewhat? Yes. But we're at a point right now where they have to make these sweeping changes because we're just not at a place where the NFL recognizes it needs to be.
One of the things that was being talked about was this idea of moving people up in the draft if they actually hired minority coaches. That got tabled. It didn't go anywhere.
Well, it got tabled because the reaction, the blowback was just fierce. African American coaches did not want to be put in a position where they would be looked at that they were just getting these jobs because of essentially an affirmative action program. And in 2020, the feeling was, well, why are we even at a point where this is something that you have to do? Now, there's a discussion to be had about incentivizing doing the right thing, as bad as that is, that we got to talk about that at this stage. There is a discussion about that, but the way they wanted to do it didn't make sense. And Roland, the other thing is, the biggest bump from that proposal would have occurred if a team hired a general manager of color and a coach of color in the same hiring cycle. In the 100-year history of the NFL, that has happened one time. So It just didn't make sense.
Wow. Also, one of the things is that, which was a big impediment, they approved the resolution that stopped teams from blocking assistant coaches from interviewing for coordinator positions, as well as folks interviewing for assistant general manager positions. I mean, that was a deal. I mean, all of a sudden you have like somebody wants to hire you for a better job, and your team can block you.
Right, but here's my thing about that, Roland. I really would like to see some numbers on how often this was even something that came into play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, this is almost like putting up a no speeding sign where there's no road. If you remove impediments from something that owners didn't think was an impediment because they weren't going after these people after all, what have you really done?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting there. And again, what I keep trying to see, the NFL has tried to, first of all, they fooled a lot of the public. They try to say the league office, and then you have the owners. The league office works for the owners. Okay, Roger Goodell is not this separate entity out here. He doesn't have any Judge Landis power where he has absolute authority regardless of what the owners say. For those of y'all who need to reference that, that's Major League Baseball, so go Google it. He doesn't have that. He works for the owners. If the owners tell him, Roger, stand down, Goodell is standing down.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's an employee. I mean, he's a spectacularly compensated employee, but he's an employee. He doesn't have the power to tell the owners, this is what we're going to do. And it took 24 votes just to get this stuff approved out of the 32 owners. Would you imagine what it would be like if you went to the owner and said, well, we're going to put some mechanism in place where if you don't hire qualified people of color, we're going to take draft picks away from you? No owner is going to vote for that. They're not going to punish themselves. He's an employee. The league office works for the owners. This is a problem with ownership. That's the bottom line.
Questions. Let me go to Bellick first.
Yeah. So, what do you think as far as? And I know there was probably about around the time that Jay-Z got involved in it. Have you seen him have any hands in any of this or the efforts that they're taking? I know that the league itself, there was that players league that they were focusing on things like social justice and stuff like that. But have you seen anything from Jay-Z's hire that maybe precipitated this or kind of helped this move along?
Well, I don't know anything out there in the public. You know, obviously Jay-Z is someone who has a great deal of influence, and him joining forces with the NFL is something the NFL definitely wanted. So it wouldn't shock me if Jay-Z had discussions, privately nudging people in a certain direction, but I haven't heard of anything public, no.
He ain't got that much juice, not with billionaire owners. Mustafa.
Yeah, so we know in 2003 we had the same amount of black coaches as we do today. What is it that the fans can do to help to nudge or push folks in the right direction?
Well, that's a really good question. I've had friends of mine who are lawyers tell me that, the conduct of the owners is like almost conduct detrimental to the NFL. But the NFL is approaching $20 billion in revenue. So when you talk about what can the fans do, I really don't know, because as long as the revenue keeps coming in this way and there's nothing to their business model that they feel is threatening to them, then I don't know how fans can really affect change.
Kelly.
So I understand both through this interview and through what I've read that there have been policies in place to increase diversity. Obviously, you just mentioned that that hasn't really happened. So with these new policies, what exactly needs to be in this new policy for diversity to actually come to fruition? And is that language, to your knowledge, anywhere in this new policy?
Well, I think if you want to take an optimistic view of things, you could say that the fact that the league is going to allow more potentially mobility for the assistant coaches, that the impediments in terms of contract language that kept them from interviewing for higher jobs, that's going to be removed now. So if you want to look at it and be optimistic, you could say that, well, maybe there will be more diversity because owners and executives from these teams will reach out to more qualified, diverse candidates. But I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, I think that we really need to see some significant change to say that these policies that they're implementing now are really going to make any type of a difference.
Look, the NFL knows they have egg on their face. They know it looks horrible. But let's just be real clear. The only way any of this changes is when the people who actually are making them that $20 billion, the players, actually rise up and say, enough is enough.
Yeah, and Roland, I hear what you're saying, and I think that's valid. I don't see that happening. The players, by and large, they're focused on their situation. The National Football Players Association they don't have any jurisdiction over the coaches, so it's kind of two separate things. They're not working together. So I don't see that happening, but I do agree with you. That could put a lot of pressure on the system.
Absolutely. All right, Jason Reed, senior NFL writer for The Undefeated. We surely appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Anytime, man.
All right then, folks. All right, let's get right into this here. First of all, we've talked about so many people are staying at home. They don't know what to do. They just like, look, you know what? It's just craziness happening out here. But we still have some crazy-ass people. Crazy-ass white people. You know what time it is.
No charcoal grills are allowed.
I'm white. I got you, Carl.
Illegally selling water without a permit?
On my property.
Whoa! Hey!
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
All right, so brother, police officer, minding his own business, trying to go into where he lives, and he had to deal with a crazy-ass white woman. Watch this.
You're gonna send me a citation? I would love to see that.
Obsessive porn. And I have rear cameras on the way as well.
I beeped at you, yeah, because you shouldn't be trying to break into buildings.
Break into buildings? I just showed you that I live here.
Okay, but before that, I didn't know that, did I?
Is it your business, once again?
I live here, so it's safety of me and my building.
Well,
it
you see,
is.
I have my key right here.
Okay.
And you're being recorded, too.
Good.
Okay? Like
That's
I said,
good.
it'll be on your citation.
I'm not getting a citation.
Oh, you are. You are.
No, I'm not. I'll fight it tooth and nail.
Fight it. You'll still get one.
Well, I'm not going to pay
I'll
it.
see you in court, though.
I'll see you in court,
Or when you
neighbor.
get your warrant for failure to pay, idiot.
Kelly, I'm concerned about my safety, and I'm accosting a cop. I would think if you're concerned with your safety, you're happy a cop lives in your building.
If there's one thing that white people have, it's the caucasity. And they want to be victims so bad for reasons unbeknownst to me, because there is no benefit to be a victim. There is no benefit being subjected to violence, subjected to discrimination, subjected to the notion of being less than your counterpart. So the fact that they want to be in that dynamic so badly that one, such as this woman, is willing to harass a cop, the one entity, the one job that has always had a white woman's back. Let's be real. So to accost one so that you can be even more of a victim than cops already see you. Like my mind is blown. There are no words.
Damn, Melly, we now accosting cops.
Oh, come on. you listen to this, sounds like this foolishness of the lady last week when that we were watching when in the neighborhood that started to say that they were doctors and all this type of nonsense. The woman said that she thought that someone dressed in a uniform was doing something, I'm assuming, illegal. It's BS. Whatever her prejudices were pretty much played out in that video, because it's hard to argue that you are afraid of anything or that you fear, and especially it sounds like she was a white woman, and white women generally.
She Karen, Becky, Margaret. Oh yeah.
Well, they typically aren't the target of any type of police force. So the notion that she's somehow afraid, but I imagine that this definitely had to do more so with the race of the officer than her fearing anything, because I doubt that she would have approached a white officer assuming that that white officer was somehow doing anything illegal. I mean, it's actually even counterintuitive. So yeah, I mean, whatever, silly lady.
But this whole idea, Mustafa, that black people, we got. I'm telling you, this is going back to South Africa and the past books, and this is going back to slave patrols. Well, you got to show me your papers. You got to prove. I get to ask you. That's what my man said. Oh no, I got cameras all in my car. Your ass gonna get a citation.
But what papers does a cop need?
Does anyone need?
Mustafa, it was crazy. It was crazy watching the video, Mustafa. It was crazy.
It is crazy. And you know, it's not that far away, just a few generations away, where black officers did not have the ability to police in white communities, to arrest white citizens, even if they were doing something that was illegal. We also have to remember that privilege is intoxicating. And evidently that intoxication makes some people's brain begin to melt and make them think that they can say and do anything. Doesn't matter if you are a policeman or a fireman or an EMT or whatever the situation might be, you're seen as less than human.
The thing here is, I'm telling y'all right now, let me just go and say it. Anybody white out there, if your ass even attempt to question me about do I belong somewhere, I ain't even gonna give you the time of day. I ain't showing you a damn thing. I ain't pulling nothing out, because I ain't got to prove to nobody where in the hell I live.
I'm gonna cuss you out.
I mean, these people are absolutely stuck on stupid. They are truly stuck on stupid. All right, Malik, Kelly up. Mustafa, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Bye, guys.
All right, folks, every Monday, got our segment Fit, Live, Win. Of course, we went long yesterday, so I'll push it to today. And of course, what about the holistic practice? Well, guess what? We have a certified nutritionist and holistic practitioner who can help folks out. And he recently helped 127 people between the ages of 26 to 77 lose 2,325 pounds during his 40-day holistic process entitled 40 Days with Dr. Joe. Now, here's another Facebook Live session coming up. In the meantime, he's with us. All right, Doc. So what is this 40-day holistic process? What is this?
Thank you for having me first. What it is a 40-day process of taking people, educating them about nutrition, placing them in small groups, giving them the support that they need, accountability. I'm teaching live classes. We're creating a culture around them to help them break some of those habits and usher them into their best possible selves. And it's been very, very successful, and I'm glad to service the people that way.
And so when you talk about that, so what does it entail? Because typically when you have these things, people focus on diet, diet, diet. So it sounds like you're not focused on just on what you eat.
Correct. It's not just what you eat, but spiritual and emotional things as well. You know, not understanding spiritual and emotional impetus of things many times can lead to unhealthy physical habits, i.e. emotional eating, addiction, so on and so forth. So by combining those three different things in those models that I have just shared with you, helps create and place people in environments where they feel safe, they're receiving education, everything that they need to get the results that they want quickly.
So you think people make the mistake by only focusing on, okay, I got to lose these 8 pounds, I got to lose these 10 pounds? Or you're saying that there are other things that contribute to why somebody has gained weight or why they've lost a lot of weight?
Absolutely. Eating is a discipline. So anything that you do with ongoingness religiously, it is a discipline. And eating should be one of those things. What you put in your temple, you become that from a molecular, cellular level. So by understanding that what I'm eating habitually is a spiritual discipline, it allows you to look at your diet from different lenses and therefore making adjustments to manifest what you're trying to manifest physically. Absolutely.
So where does one start? So you're talking about this process. Where should somebody start?
If a person, two answers to that question. Number one, if a person wants to start and they don't desire to come through 40 days with Dr. Joe, the two things that they need is to select the type of journey that you want to take. Veganism, vegetarianism, keto, it doesn't matter. But the key is being consistent in that new nutritional profile. The second place that a person can start is by not being sedentary, exercising daily, not sometimes, but just like you breathe every day, we need to move every day. If a person does those two things and you stick with it, you will be the recipient of results.
And when you say exercise every day, that does not necessarily mean lifting weights, does not mean you're running on the treadmill. And so how much activity are you talking about we should be doing every day?
We should be, at minimum, walking. Walking is a great exercise. If you walk 10,000 steps a day, 10,000 steps a day is not even 2 miles. You can walk 30 minutes away from your condo, your house, your apartment, walk 30 minutes back. It's a great time. You can return emails. You can be thinking about the next move that you're trying to make. And it's low impact on the body, which means that it's not going to create inflammation that mitigates your ability to recover the next day. But we were made to move daily, every something. We need to do something.
So, and that's interesting because you have some of these people out here who are fitness, who are trainers, they poo-poo walking. Yet I've seen other stories where there are people who said, no, I modified my meals and I walked every day and I lost 30, 40, 50 pounds.
Absolutely. Walking is one of the best fat burners, one of the best fat burners that we can do. The body isn't demanding carbohydrates anaerobic when you're, high intensity running, but it's aerobic. You can still have a conversation, and you're not. It's not increasing your appetite, which can happen when you exercise a lot. So it's something that you can do every single day. Walking is great, and that's the reason why you see bodybuilders walking slow-paced things, because it's more efficient at burning fat as other types of cardiovascular-based exercises. Walking's great.
And is it a fast pace? Is it so? How should you be walking?
You want to walk to where you are comfortable. You want it to be brisk, but you don't want to get to the point to where you feel like you're jogging. And what will happen is that you lose weight, your pace will increase over time. And what I recommend, instead of just walking 30 minutes from your house, 30 minutes back, you can increase the distance slowly over time. So you can increase it 10% every 2 to 3 weeks. And what'll happen is the more weight you lose, the more challenging it'll be. It'll be more endurance than just increasing your heart rate.
That's interesting because when I talk to some people, they're always about, no, you got high impact, you got to have your heart rate, at a high level, and you got to sustain that over a period of time. It sounds like what you're saying is like, look, okay, that's all good. You need folks just moving, getting in the habit of doing it every single day.
Every single day. And as we get older, our joints can't take high impact. I'm 42 years of age, and when you get to the point to where you're mid-30s, you have to tailor how you're working out. There's nothing wrong with high impact training, but that's not sustainable to a large group demographic of people. As we're getting older, we need to become lighter and we need to become more active. That will equate, especially when you couple it with a healthy diet, for longevity.
All right, then. Dr. Joe Williams, where can folks reach you?
They can reach me on Instagram at Dr. Joseph Williams. And if they're interested in the program, they can go to 40dayturnup.com. That 40 is the actual number, 40dayturnup.com, and it's free.
All right. We surely appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, this weekend is Memorial Day weekend, and on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, some of the top folks in entertainment, music, and fashion are going to get together to memorialize the late Andre Harrell, also known endearingly by close family and friends as Mr. Champagne and Bubbles. Fans will be able to watch commercial-free a salute to him, a tribute to him on BET, BET Jams, BET Soul, and Revolt TV while streaming on the Interactive One digital brands as well as on Fox Soul or via the Fox Soul app. Folks, this was a tribute that was posted to, first of all, Babyface posted actually a video where he did a song paying tribute to Andre Harrell. He did this when he announced he was postponing his Mother's Day celebration because of the death of Andre Harrell. That celebration is actually going to air. He's actually going to do that live stream this Sunday instead. But the video that Babyface did of Andre Harrell, he actually wrote a song and dedicated it to him. Diddy actually took that song and put it to pictures, and check this out.
I remember how you smiled. I remember how you laughed. How you always told your truth.
I'm not playing with the blackness.
And you never held things back.
I'm playing black excellence.
How you fought for excellence. To be black as we can be. Andre, you knew who you were. And I swear if nothing else, you taught me to be me. And God will remember how you always gave your heart. So until we meet again, may you stay the way. Say to your friend.
Progressive culture, you're the face of life, that's excellent. And most of all, Puff, I gotta say, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I love you. Keep rocking. Do you like this soup?
I'll see you in the stars. I love you, man. And I'll miss you.
And again, that tribute is going to air across those networks this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, folks. Also, on June 6th, announcement was made today that on YouTube, Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, Taylor Swift will be among those joining the Dear Class of 2020, the virtual commencement ceremony for this year's quarantine graduates. More than 24 artists, celebrities, and influencers will participate in the live stream set to kick off at Saturday, June 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern. They'll be joined by President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama, who are delivering commencement addresses, along with BTS, Lady Gaga, and more. All right, folks, we're going to end the show with those of you who have given $50 to our Bring the Funk fan club. Let's get started. A lot of names here, folks. Al Williams, Alvin, Alice R. Nelson Ruley, Alicia J. Lockhart, Andre Fitzpatrick, Angel Johnson, Anissa Johnson, y'all should be playing music, Anthony Perkins, Anthony Privet, Brandon Carpenter, Brandon Pete, Calvin Ray Stiggers, Carla Anderson, Cleveland Morrison, Constine J. Jack III, C.R. Stroy, Curtis Barron, Curtis Walker, Daniel LaRoche, Denomi Brown, David Alexander, Dolores Rock, Drabus, Elmer Chisholm, Eric Cockrell, Ernestine Christian, Eugenia Moss Red, Unita Bethea, Felix Olabatuyi, Fran Owens, Gary Godwin, Gene Allen, Jeffrey Carter, Gloria Wallace, Gregory Walker, Henry Hall, Herman Houston, Honey Ohana Tene, Jamil Davis, Janice Burney, Janice Taylor, Jason Vest, Johan, John Matthews, Joy Griffin, Joshua Sam, Just Jokes USA. We have Karen Russ, Catrice Williams, Kevin Woods, Khalifa Naylor, Kimberly Edwards, Aquilanice Pugh, Letitia Sims, Betty Kirkendall, Landis Rice, Lenora Williams, Rico, Longevity Entertainment, Lanisha Whitlow, Martha Mashin, Maxine Gray, Melanine Young, Michelle Arrington, Michelle Reyes, Midtown Fire Extinguisher, Mim, Monica Alexander, Nicholas Elobre, Robert Jones, Ronald Suggs, Ronnie Byers, Sexy Swag, Shondice Jefferson, Sharonda Cohn, Shelly Williams, Sherry Terry Ayers, Sharonda Butler, Spence Clark, Stephanie DeVoe, Sunita Hutnall, Tanisha, Terry McClellan, Teresa Ocon, Talisha Burnett, Timothy Wright, Tanya, Tracy Mayo, Tundra King, Yu Allen, Vaughn Morris, Vincent Phillips, Yolanda Kabarami. I want to thank all of you for giving $50 or more to our Bring the Funk fan club. We certainly appreciate it. Folks, if you want to give, join our Bring the Funk fan club. More than 6,000 people have joined us. Actually, I think with this list down, we probably 6,200. All you got to do is give to us via Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is paypal.me, R Martin Unfiltered. Guys, don't forget we need to add Venmo to that. That's @RM Unfiltered. You also want to send a donation to join our Bring the Funk fan club. New Vision Media, NU. Vision Media Inc., 1625 K Street, Northwest, Suite 400, Washington, D.C., 20006. So we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, for all of you who make it possible for us to do this show, to bring you the kind of content you're not getting anywhere else. Nobody else on the digital platform is doing 5 days a week this kind of show. It ain't happening. That's why we do what we do. Also, you see me wearing the shirt here. I don't know. First of all, I was given this shirt. I'm going to show you all of it. I was given this shirt. This is the 95th birthday of Malcolm X today. I don't have a Malcolm X shirt. I used to, but I got to get me a new one. And so zoom in. So I want you to zoom in, then I want you to pan down. And so I was given this shirt, and as you see, it says Black History. They took all the letters of these names. So Dubois, Malcolm, Maya Angelou, Madam C.J. Walker, Dr. King, Harriet Tubman. You have Frederick Douglass, Ida B. Wells, Nat Turner, President Barack Obama, Rosa Parks, Marcus Garvey. And so I was in D.C. I was actually at the African American Museum, and some brothers were selling this on the street. So if y'all watching the show, let me know, because people keep asking me where to get this shirt. Now you can zoom out. People keep asking me where to get this shirt, and I can't tell you, but I do love it. And so I wanted to go ahead and wear it today, since today, of course, the 95th birthday of Malcolm X. And also, folks, they have a project called tied to Malcolm X's birthdays. It's going to be airing on Audible. I've been doing some work with them, and so if you can check that out. If you go to my social media, you'll actually see we have the information on there as well. It's called What Malcolm X Means. And so they're also going to have something later this year where Lawrence Fishburne is playing Malcolm X. And so you can check it out right here and go take a look at it. It's called The Autobiography of Malcolm X, performed by Lawrence Fishburne. Show it on my iPad, please. And you can check it out on Audible. So it's going to be later this year. And so I did a video for those guys supporting that as well. All right, folks, I got to go. I will see y'all tomorrow. Don't forget, hit us up, RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to hit 500,000 subscribers. We started 2 years ago with 150,000, September 4th, 2018. We've been growing like crazy. So go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, click the button so you get notified when we go live with our programming. All right, folks, I shall see you tomorrow. What's today, Tuesday? Don't forget, Reverend Dr. Jackie Hood Martin has her weekly Bible study tomorrow at noon. You don't want to miss that. And so again, turn your notification on. Lunchtime, if you want to do a Bible study with Reverend Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, check that out tomorrow, okay? On Wednesday. All right, y'all, I got to go.